Do you know what it feels like to sit at a table where everyone is eating, laughing, clinking glasses, yet you might as well be a ghost? That was me, walking back into the house I grew up in after 7 years of silence. I thought Christmas would bring healing. Instead, it buried me under truths I wish I never heard. My name doesn't matter, not really. Just think of me as someone who clawed her way out of the life her family scripted for her. I was the daughter of a man who worshipped success, but only when it wore a suit and carried his last name forward. My brothers fit neatly into his empire.
Me?
I was an afterthought, a spare part. I left home young, chasing a dream no one in that house believed in: technology, code, machines that could think faster than people. I bled for that dream. 3 jobs at once, ramen for dinner, sleeping under flickering fluorescent lights in computer labs. While my brothers sat at business banquets polishing silver spoons, I was washing dishes to pay for textbooks. And yet I built something real. A company, a future. But my father never asked. Not once. To him, my work was a hobby, a distraction. Business is a man's world, he told me once, cigar smoke curling around his words like chains. That sentence has lived in my chest like a splinter ever since. 7 years. That's how long I stayed away. Until this Christmas. I told myself I was ready. I told myself I'd walk through that door and show them who I'd become. Not out of spite, out of hope. Maybe they'd finally see me. The house looked the same, almost insultingly so. Lights strung along the roof, wreath on the door, the smell of turkey slipping through the cracks. For a moment, I almost let nostalgia soften me. Then the door opened, and reality hit. My mother hugged me like nothing had changed. My brothers barely looked up from their drinks before reminding me of their promotions, their expansions, their revenue charts. And my father, he sat in his chair like a king on his throne. He said my name, just my name, flat and heavy like it was a fact he was tired of stating.
No hook. No worms.
Just acknowledgement. I smiled. I kept my voice steady. I thought I could survive the night. But then came dessert. He tapped his glass. Everyone hushed. He stood up, sweater crisp, face serious, voice soaked with authority. Succession, he said, like the word itself was holy. He praised my brothers, announced their rise to power, CEO and president, carrying his empire forward. The room applauded. Glasses clinked. I sat there, still, silent, invisible. And then he turned to me. His gaze locked on mine. As for inheritance, he said, I've decided to revise my will. Vincent and Daniel will inherit the company and the family assets. You, he paused, as if savoring it. You will receive nothing. Nothing. Spoken so plainly it burned more than if he had screamed. The room froze. Forks in midair. Eyes darting. My mother's hand trembling on her napkin. My aunt whispering my name. My brothers trying not to smirk. 7 years ago, I would have broken. I would have cried, begged, asked what I'd done wrong. But that night, I lifted my fork, cut into my slice of pie, and said only 2 words. I understand. And I did. Finally. I understood that no achievement of mine would ever matter to him. That my worth, in his eyes, was measured only by my obedience, my conformity, my willingness to play the role he assigned me at birth. I wasn't angry. I wasn't even sad. I was free. Because what my father didn't know, what none of them knew, was that I had already built an empire far beyond the reach of Maple Street. I had already secured my future without his money, without his approval. In that moment, watching him cut me out of his will, I realized he was cutting himself out of mine. So, here I am, telling you this story not for pity, but for truth. Sometimes the family you're born into will never see you. Sometimes the only way to survive is to walk away and build your own table, even if you sit at it alone. Now I'll ask you, because I'm curious, if you were me, sitting there at that table, hearing those words, would you have spoken up? Or would you have done what I did? Smile, swallow the pain, and let silence say it all?